Hello and welcome to this episode of Microchips, and on the bench today we have this boxed Concorde II, International Concorde II that I got. So let's see if there's any surprises that await us. But before we start, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, join Facebook, join Patreon, buy me a coffee, have a look at my website microchips.net, and let's get started. So, boxed Concorde II. Well, we all know what a Concorde II is. One of my favourite radios. Let's see what's in the box. So, instruction manual. Always nice to see. With the schematic at the back. And somebody's notes up there. Okay, we have a manual. Fantastic. All the frequencies on the back. So as you see, this one stock goes mid-high, super high. So here's the Concorde. The case doesn't look too bad. Front looks a little bit dirty and a bit worn. Everything's to be expected on the rear. Does need a good clean up on the front. I'm sure after a nice clean up, this radio will look a lot different. So yeah, International Concorde II. Let's have a look inside. So let's take off the top lid, and immediately we're greeted with a horror story. It just goes to show you that even though it's advertised as being boxed, it's far from perfect inside. So it looks like it's had a little bit of work here and there. So we'll take off the component side, and immediately I can see the different bleep module has been fitted. That's not the original one. Looks like the one out of a Concorde 1. Our pull switch on the RF gain has been repurposed to a 5kc by the looks of it. And we have a Vero board VCO. Very nice. I suppose in the days before there was replacements, that was the way to go. But this beep module is definitely not the original beep module. I think we need to do the bias resistor. Somebody's changed the audio limiter, but we need to change that to a 5.6K. On the print side, we've got a whole train wreck around the Darlington. And of course we've got the obligatory hacked up print around the PLL area with an interesting surface mount across those two pins. It seems to be a voltage feed modification. Yeah, I do like the board. Don't like the massive great big cut track that's underneath it. Yeah, looks like this radio's had a bit of a hard life. So 1981 PLL, 12th week of 1981. So does it actually work? So high band, yep, that's fine. Mid band and low band. So somebody's switched out the super high crystal for a low band crystal in this one. And we're doing a 4 watts as to be expected. So the radio does work. So at least that's one thing. At least it's not completely butchered. Nice swing on SSB. No problem at all. Yeah, that's definitely not the original bleep. So what we're going to do with this? Well, it's all coming off. That's what's going to happen to it. Because there's no way I am leaving it in that condition. So somebody's had a real good time with what looks like an axe in here, hacking this poor print to pieces. So we'll carefully fish all these wires off. And see what horror is underneath. So yeah, looks like it's a 5kc modification for this. I'm sure it would have been fine, but I'm not leaving it like that. So we'll just pull all the wires off. And the more I look at it, the more hacked up tracks I see on this. Yeah, very nice. So I think we're going to have to take out the PLL chip, so we get a good idea of what's going on underneath all these solder bridges. You can see the solder bridge over there for the 5kc switch, or to enable the 5kc on the PLL. So we will unsolder this PLL. So yeah, as you can see, there's all sorts of cut tracks and wire links on this. Somebody's had some fun with this. So yeah, quite a mess. So now we've got the PLL out, we can see the full extent of this nastiness. And yeah, it's been hacked up quite badly. So how are we going to sort that? Well, we're going to have to put some more wire links across, but some smaller ones this time. But first, we're going to give it a good clean up with a toothbrush and some isopropyl alcohol, just to get rid of all the old flux and all the old debris. And now we can see properly, see properly the horrors that are underneath here. So yeah, just goes to show, even though it was boxed, it was a horror story inside. So yeah, that looks a little bit cleaner now. Still scratched a bit, so I'm still hacked up. Really, really nice. Really nice. So we've got to try and remake all those cut tracks. So I've exposed copper as best as I can on either side of the cut traces, and we'll put some nice wire links across. That'll do for a start. And what we'll do is we'll put some UV solder mask, and we'll paint in, or we'll paint over it with the UV curable solder mask, and hopefully that will make it look a little bit nicer. That looks a little bit better. So all we need to do now is add a little bit of ultraviolet light to it, just to cure the paint. So we'll leave that on for a couple of minutes. And it's kind of looking a little bit better than what it was. But we've still got hacked up tracks all over the place. So we've added a little bit more solder mask onto the places that have put the links, and we'll leave that to cure for a couple of minutes. And we've resoldered a PLL module back into there, and I think that looks a lot better than what it was. Now for the VCO. So we'll unsolder the supply to this voltage feed. I can see somebody's made it look tidy, but a massive great big hack up of the track underneath it. Why, oh why, oh why. But anyway, we're not going to be using that pin anyway. So let's get that homebrew VCO out of the way. I think I just sucked up one of the pins. There, that should do. So clean up of the area. And yep, seems to want to come out. So there's the homemade VCO. Quite interesting. Somebody's actually spent their time making that. I'm sure it's lasted all these years. But we've fitted one of my voltage feed VCOs, and we're just going to fill up that horrible cut mark again with a little bit of UV solder mask. Make it look a little bit better. So yeah, not too bad. So under the ultraviolet light for a couple of minutes. And yeah, that should do for that. So, seeing we've got a free switch, we're going to use that for our plus and minus, well, minus 5 kc. We're going to use a center switch for the alpha channels. If these switches were original, I was going to leave them alone, but seeing they've already been repurposed, then yeah, we're going to put it back. We're going to have to use it for the 5 and 10 kc. So to disable the off for the KC shift, we just need to put a bridge across those two, and then we can use the other side of the switch for the 10 KC. So let's have a look at a little bit of an alignment. So we're on the 10240 test point and not too far out. So we'll get that into specification, just like so. Now we're on the SSB offsets or SSB carriers. We're looking for 10695 and 10692, and they're not too far out. So we will adjust those and get them a little bit closer, and hopefully the crystal filter hasn't moved too much. And we can actually use these without adjusting them, because if the crystal filter is a little bit out, we can match it by adjusting these. So yeah, that'll do just nicely. So having a look at the transmitted frequencies, they need to be adjusted. So which is going to be those three. Let's have a look. There we go, 415, 515 and 965. Now this mess around the Darlington, let's clean it up with a little bit of alcohol. See what it looks like under there. So yeah, even though it looks a mess, it'll be fine. The legs are bent over quite nicely and soldered up. Just having a listen to the audio. So LSB offset. There we go, that's the LSB offset. USB seems okay. Not too bad. And let's have a look at the synad readings for all you people that love synad readings. And it's not too bad. It's within specification. It's within what I'd expect to see. Radio's quite sensitive. Seems to be sensitive enough across the bands. So we've been on low band, on mid band, now we'll go to high band. Yeah, not too bad. So we'll just check the RF bias, and it's a little bit high. So we'll bring that down to 0.7 of a volt. And we're going to change this main capacitor that likes to leak its guts everywhere. So we'll fit a new one of those in. And there we have it. There we have it, a boxed International Concorde that, yeah, appearances can be deceiving. Even though it says it's boxed, it was an absolute train wreck inside. Anyway, this radio should be good now. Now it's had a going over and alignment. It sounds well. Yeah, I'm happy with it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, join Facebook, join Patreon, buy me a coffee. Have a look at my website, microchips.net. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.